He's more knowledgeable about technical questions, so I let him take over.
Okay. Well, like since you're here, like have you done a live with your group before? Have they seen you? You should introduce
No,
yourself.
he should. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, this is our first live. My name's Steven. I do all the programming and all that jazz to make sure everything's working.
Cool. Well, I know a lot of people really appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll get some visitors with us. I see we're up to 4 eyeballs, so tell me, as an author who's only done translations the traditional way, uh, what benefits I would have from using ScribeShadow on my future work over my current processes.
Yes, so our whole, I guess our main benefits here are speed and cost, right? Because as you mentioned, traditional human translations are very expensive. Um, it can cost a single 50 to 75,000 word book can cost thousands to get translated. And it will usually take, if not weeks, months, depending on the translator. But with ScribeShadow, you can get a translation in minutes for, under $100, depending on how long your book is. So it's really enabled, we've been in the publishing world ourselves for about 10 years. This kind of was something I initially built for my own use before kind of opening it up to, everyone at large. But, it enables our customers to get their books out into new markets without having to put out that huge upfront investment.
Yeah, I know that people were so excited when it first launched, and yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to try it out when I have something to try it out with. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
It's okay.
Remind me your name one more time.
Steven.
Steven. Okay. I'm going to try to. I'm so bad with names and faces, but I'm going to try. You're the only other face on the call, so that should help. So, yeah, if you want to help answer questions that touch at your skill base, because some of the pre submitted questions were outside of the realm of advertising, I'm still going to try to tackle them, but you might have better knowledge or just keep me company in case nobody asks any questions. Hopefully they will.
I think there were some questions in the original posts.
Yep, I got them all. I've got them organized.
Okay.
Added stuff. I have tabs open and ready for whichever direction we go. If there aren't a lot of questions, I figured I could set up some ads for one of my German books and talk about the decisions. So I've got all the assets ready. Yep. I mean, we're up to 5 eyeballs, is it? And it's 9 a.m. Okay, I said we were going to start on time. So hello, welcome to our live Q&A. I'm Melissa Storm. I'm the CEO of Novel Publicity and a New York Times bestselling author under many pen names. Only one of them is NYT though. And I'm here to talk about Facebook ads for translations. And I'm joined by Steven, the tech lead of ScribeShadow, making his non-bird debut. So a rare treat for you guys. And I put it in the description attached to this video, but like I want you guys to ask questions. I completely tailor what we talk about based on what people want to know. I think that's way more helpful than me preparing a PowerPoint and talking at you. I want to talk to you. So please ask your questions. If you have specific questions about your books, or you would rather just ask it with your voice rather than your fingertips, there's a link to the Google Meet. You can hop in and you will appear on screen, but you can come and join us and ask us things live. Otherwise, I'm going to start going through the pre-recorded questions. Yeah, it looks like the live isn't actually showing me the comments, which is not helpful, but I am a master of many tabs. I work with a lot of neurodivergent folks, and I'm neurodivergent myself, so I can handle multiple tabs, which seems to be what we're going to do. So I have a lot of experience with translations. It was my job before I became a full-time indie publishing expert, both on the marketing side and then as an author of over 100 books myself. So this has been my life since 2011. And prior to that, I worked in the translation industry as a senior linguistic validation research analyst. If people are interested in that, I can talk more about it. It's just a very technical form of translations, which is why I got into indie translations as early as 2016 and was really ahead of the curve with a lot of these things before ScribeShadow existed. Back then, your best option as an indie publisher with translations was a company called BabbleCube, which sucks and should be lit on fire. Not to take too strong of a stance there. But I've been trying to get translations off of BabbleCube for like 5 years and they don't respond. So not recommended, which you don't need because you have ScribeShadow now. But all of my translations as an author are either with publishers or I hired a human translator and editor. So my experience isn't directly with ScribeShadow, but a lot of the skills overlap. And my company, Novel Publicity, we do ads for about 150 authors currently, and a lot of them use ScribeShadow. Or they have human translators as well, but we work a lot with books in languages other than English. So please, if you're here, leave a comment to let us know you're here, maybe where you're watching from, which whether you have translations out, and if so, which languages and which genres, because I want to customize this presentation to you. I have the pre-prepared questions that I'm going to go through. I also have my live ads dashboard for my pen name Molly Fitz, which is Cozy Mysteries. And I have, you can see a direct sales campaign, I've got an English campaign, and I've got French, German, and Italian right now. So I can kind of talk about those and what I've done differently. For example, Germany loves multi-series, multi-book ads. So they like to see collages with lots of books on it. Other markets don't. The UK and France, they love box sets. Italy doesn't like box sets. Like, these are the types of insights I've picked up over time. Like, I have a lot of things like that I can talk about if you guys give me some guidance on the markets you're interested in and the languages and genres. I've also got some other helpful tabs up that we can talk about. And I'm really excited to show you guys this because I just made this morning, and this is what I'm going to use to set up new ads. But until I get a question, and Stephen, if you notice somebody post a question, will you just shout to me so I don't have to keep checking it? I see you're muted, so, but will you let me know if you see a comment or question pop up?
Yeah, there's I think Sean McGuire just posted
Oh,
one.
cool. Sean, thank you. You saw it at the same time as me. I'm here from Wisconsin and have 3 German cozy-ish mysteries out right now. Cool. Well, I was planning to work on German cozy mysteries as the live example, so that's perfect. Hi, Sean, and I know Sean. Okay. So the questions I have, me and my tab management. Here we go. So even though I haven't used ScribeShadow yet, I am buddies with ChatGPT, who helped me organize all of the questions that were presented ahead of time. And I lost my, there we go. Okay. So they're kind of organized in categories. And then the highlighted thing is something I added that I felt was really important but wasn't asked. But I noticed people wondering about it in the group, and I have an answer for that. So I'm going to go through and talk about some of these things. And Stephen, please add your expertise and insights, especially because the first questions aren't really about ads, but I didn't want to ignore anybody. And we work with translations across a broad scope. Like I said, I'm an author too. I'm translated into German, French, Italian, Spanish, Japanese. Those are the ones I have. And I'm very pleased with how my German and Italian are doing. I had French doing very well for a pen name I actually sold. But French has been amazing for romance, as long as there's a little something something. It's the culture that invented menage a trois. They don't want my sweet romance. But Germany and Italy, they seem to understand what I'm doing across pen names. Those are always big wins for me. Fun extra fact is I was selling so well in Italy that I felt like I had to thank the Italian people with my presence, and literally took my family vacation to Italy just because I wanted to learn more about the culture that seemed to just understand me. And while I was there, I got I got this tattoo of art from Italy as well. So I always have a piece of it with me. But that's just a side. Okay. The first topic, foundational strategy. Some great questions. The first is, what should we have for a newsletter strategy? So I have newsletters for Germany, France, and Italy for my Molly Fitz pen name. I don't have any for my other pen names. So Melissa Storm has been translated for a while. That's my women's fiction and sweet romance, but it hasn't taken off the way that Molly Fitz has. My best market for Melissa Storm is Italy. But at the time, I didn't want to continue it because it was taking longer to earn out on the human translations, $2,500 a pop. And it wasn't fast enough. And I have enough else to do because I have my business and 100 plus books and writing new books, and I'm a mom. So the Melissa Storm Sweet Romance Alaskan Heart series was doing pretty well in Italy. And maybe that's something I'll revisit with ScribeShadow. But mostly my success has been with my Molly Fitz pen name. I mentioned I had a paranormal romance pen name that I sold, but that one did exceptionally well in France. And then my Luna Rider Cozy Fantasy is with a publisher, and the first German translation just launched like a couple days ago. So most of my insights I'm going to be sharing from Molly Fitz. And I will say that for Molly Fitz, I will share about my other pen names sometimes in those newsletters. I think I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers in Germany, and these are all organic just by having it in my book. And the open rates are comparable to my English, but the click rates are much higher. And I can always tell when my oh my God, I don't know how to spell my German website name. I'll just go to the English and then figure it out. I can always tell when a newsletter has been sent because I get a big surge of sales on whatever backlist title has been promoted. So this is Molly Fitz. You can see I have links with the flags to the sites for the various translations. So for Japanese, I just am going straight to Amazon because, again, this just overwhelms me so much and I have no idea what to do. So if you ask me questions about Japan, I'm probably going to stare at you and then have a mild panic attack, but I'll still try to answer, or maybe Stephen can help in that case. But for Italy, Germany, and France, I have individual websites set up. So I have to fix this. Obviously, it got ucky and I didn't notice. But I have, they all look the same. Here's Germany too. So they're all kind of the same setup. And I just cloned the site and changed out the copy. And this is a unified landing page that has everything organized nicely, including information about my cats, because my lead magnet as Molly Fitz is photos of my cats, in addition to a short story, but people really like seeing them. This guy, Monty, if you are eagle-eyed, you'll see him on the bed back there. My hairless cat is back there. And then I have a sign up. So this is where I send people. I've got this free short story. And for Germany, is this one Germany? It looks like it. For Germany, I also have a quiz. I don't know if I know how to get to it. which character are you? So I have a character quiz for the English market, and since Germany was selling so well, I translated that, and that's part of my newsletter is they can find out which of the characters they are. I should probably do that for Italy too. And I keep my translation newsletters inside MailerLite, and my English, okay, we're not going to do this. My English newsletter, I use Active Campaign, but it's very expensive. And because my translations, they get such good engagement already, I don't need the extra deliverability oomph of Active Campaign. So I keep them in MailerLite, and I do have automations, welcome automations. So I've translated my English welcome. So it's like, hey, here's your free book. And then, hey, here's one of my cats. And then I tell them all about Schrodinger. I always lead with Schrodinger for the German market. And I actually did use translations to convince my husband to get more cats. So I was selling really well in Germany, and I'm like, it's because we have a cat named Schrodinger, so they know that I get them, or simpatico. And I'm not selling well in France. It's because we don't have a French cat, because we have Merlin, who's English, we have Schrodinger, who's German. So the hairless cat is Whiskers Montreal, and he was supposed to make me sell better in France. That did not work, but he's a great cat. But when I published in Italian and Japanese, my husband was like, we're not getting cats for those languages, no. So just a tip, if you need more cats, you can let your partner know that they help sell translations sometimes.
Do not tell that to her.
It's a good thing you're the one in charge, right?
Supposedly.
So what I do with translations for the newsletters is I send 2 German a month and 1 Italian and 1 French, and my assistant completely handles that. So she decides what she's going to talk about. She writes the copy, I approve the copy, she sends it to the translators, which again, like probably I could use ScribeShadow for. I'm kind of just doing the things the way that I've done them because there's enough else to learn, but I do look forward to learning. And sends it out. I double check and I make sure everything looks good and the links are right, and she handles that. We get fan mail. A weird quirk about me as an author is I hate my fan mail. I love my fans, but I hate my fan mail. It overwhelms me. So it all goes into a folder and then she'll respond. And we do use like Google Translate to help with responding to our international readers because they're very engaged. So should you do a newsletter, if you're seeing takeoff in a market like Germany or Italy, for me, I think it's worth having a newsletter. I probably wouldn't have done the French newsletter in hindsight because that market's a bit more of a struggle for me. And it's just another thing I have to take care of. But I kind of have a viewpoint that books need to earn their assets. So when I publish, like, of course, I start with the blurb, the cover, the book has to be good. I'll get an author bio, and then that's kind of it. And if the book's starting to show traction, then I'll look into the possibility of newsletter, Facebook page, website, lead magnet, things like that. But I don't start with them by default because it's a lot to keep track of and manage, and it's a monthly, if not weekly, commitment. And it's all the more difficult if it's a language you don't speak, so you can't validate directly. So if you are seeing good lift in a market, I would definitely consider having a newsletter and treating it like the US market with a lead magnet, with a welcome sequence, sending at least once a month. They're very engaged. And what I found is that translations are 2 to 3 years behind the English market. So if you can think of what worked really well to sell my books 2 years ago, that will work really great now with translations because fewer people are doing it. Like a lot of authors, might be using ScribeShadow and getting a lot of translations out fast, and their focus is on just getting the books out, not in cultivating the relationships with the readers. And I can tell you that the readers in these markets, they love being treated like a priority and not an afterthought. So I actually put more care into my international newsletters than my English newsletters because I get so much more engagement and fan mail back. Like they really appreciate being prioritized. So that is all that to say, what should we have for a newsletter strategy? If your translations are earning well and you have multiple books and you plan to keep publishing, I would consider a newsletter, and I would treat it like you treat your English newsletter. Make it a priority, be real, be vulnerable if that's part of your brand, and connect with those readers. They love it. Are there effective promo sites for translations? Basically, no. I've tried and tested a lot of them, and the German ones in particular are a giant pain in the butt because you have to sign up and you have to buy credits and do all these special things for nothing. I am experimenting with BookFunnel group promos for translations, and I haven't done enough yet to know if they're worthwhile. I'll have to ask my assistant because I had a random surge of French sales and I have no idea why. So it might have been in a group promo, in which case they work amazingly well. I'm happy to follow up on that, or if anybody watching knows about great promo sites or group promos on BookFunnel for translations, definitely drop it in. I think that your best bet with translations is cross promotion with other authors, especially if you both have newsletters, and ads. For sure, ads will take you much farther than, paying for something on BuckD. It just has not been worth it. Just like most English promo sites are not worth it, right? Some are. We don't have any great ones for translations yet. I tried to build one, but not enough people wanted it at the time I built it. So I unbuilt it, and it's a regret. It's a regret.
The only one that we're aware of that some people have had success with is book deals with Germany.
Yeah, that one hasn't been great for me on the cozy side, but maybe for romance.
Yeah, I think it's mostly been our romance authors who have found some success with that.
Nobody's talking to us, huh? Or we have, okay. Wait, no, there are questions. You didn't tell me, Stephen. Okay. At what point would you recommend having a landing page website? In other words, how many books out before setting one up? That really depends on you and your comfort level. I used to have a web design business and I enjoy making websites. It's a great way to procrastinate on writing. So I make them fairly early in the process, but as I was showing, I cloned one existing site like Look, and I used that for all of my Molly Fits sites. You can also create a landing page on your English site, and like what I do. Oh, it's going to go to my Shopify. That's not what I want. Okay. Somewhere on here. Nope, same issue. I think the great, okay. So this is an example. My husband writes cozy mysteries, and I have not given him a website because he doesn't sell a lot, but he has a designated page on my website. And I've done this in the past with the pen name I sold. You can hide the header and you can just build from a blank page. So if it's your name, that's really easy. Like this website is Molly Mysteries. So that is an English word. Like it would be better if it was Molly Fits, but that was taken. But like you can start with a designated page on your current website. Just make sure you hide the menu with the English language options. If like I use SiteGround and I can start as many websites as I want because I'm on a higher hosting plan to support my business site, Novel Publicity. So all I really have to do is purchase a domain, install WordPress, boom, because I have developers licenses for all these. I use Thrive to build my website. So it's really easy for me. But if websites are really difficult for you, I would not prioritize that, especially you just need a place to send them. So if you're going to have a newsletter, MailerLite or whatever newsletter provider you're using, they can create a landing page for you. Or you can put a lead magnet on BookFunnel and use that as a landing page. Like, the website doesn't need to be a huge priority unless you're planning to put a lot on it and or are very comfortable making websites. So it's a low barrier. Hopefully that answers that question. All right, back to the list. Okay. Should we be doing box sets? 1,000,000,000% yes. Yes. A lot of times the boxes will sell better than the individual series. It also gives you another release. My favorite strategy with box sets is to have a different art style for the box versus the series. Some authors will just kind of use book one's cover or like do a 3D box, and I find that's not as effective. Going back to the Molly site, this is English, but this is how the core series looks, and Germany and Italy use these covers as well. And then the boxes look like this. So now we have a text-based object style aesthetic cover versus the cartoons, and that's going to appeal to different readers. So I like to have that second art style to increase marketing oomph. And then also some languages and marketplaces, they just really like box sets. Germany and France, they really like box sets. Technically, English is not a non-English language, but in the UK, they really like box sets. Like, if you can't get your series selling in the UK, but then you have a box set, you can probably get it selling in the UK. The one exception I've found is Italy. For whatever reason, they just do not like the box sets. I don't know if they don't like the art style, but I've tried this with both of my pen names, and I just cannot get boxes to stick in Italy. The way that Germany, UK, and France love them. I haven't translated enough into Spanish or Japanese to have an opinion on those. Do you have anything, Stephen?
No, we haven't really experimented much with box sets. The stuff that we've done, we've mostly just done either rapid release of each book in the series, or just putting the entire series out at once. But we haven't gone back to experiment with box sets yet.
I highly recommend it. And one bonus tip on the box sets is so when I publish the singles, I have paperbacks, and then the box sets I will put into a hardcover. And they'll sell really well because the European markets, they love print. And then if they can only get the hardcover with the trilogy, and for my Molly Fitz, you can see that they make a rainbow. So they're nice to have all of them. That has done really well versus always having a hardcover available for each single. I have found splitting them that way is good. All right.
And we've definitely heard that the European markets in particular like print.
Mm-hmm. So the next question is it worth having paperbacks wide? And if so, where best to distribute? I don't have personal experience here because with translations and my books in general, since my catalog is over 100, I'm kind of looking for quick and dirty, and then prove to me, like, earn assets. So prove to me that it's worth doing this, and then I'll do it. But I don't want to commit to having everything wide if I'm not going to be wide, if it's not going to work for me. So that is actually a growth area I would like to try, and I would probably use Draft to Digital in this case because they have a good stronghold in the European markets, possibly Publish Drive if they do physical. I know they also reach those other places. But if you're seeing good results and you're not overwhelmed by your to-do list, I would try. So my plan would be to make my assistant do it and to use Draft to Digital. So if anybody has other experience, I have no experience. So if anybody has actual experience, please chime in on that one. Otherwise, we're going to platform choices and distribution. For KU books, do Amazon or Facebook ads work better? Both work great. I personally like Facebook ads because that's my area of expertise. But the thing with Facebook ads is you'll burn through your audience really fast. It's hard to keep them sustained. I'll get clients who are seeing good results and get excited and want to keep scaling and scaling and scaling their Facebook ads. And I have to be like, really, we shouldn't be spending more than $20 a day for Germany and France, and like $10 a day for Italy, and like $5 a day for any other language, because the audience is too small. So if you hit it really big, you're going to get poorer performance, and then it's just going to implode and not work anymore. So with Facebook, even if you're only doing $5 a day, you're still going to work through your audience pretty quickly. So you need to keep hitting it with more creatives. There isn't more audience. It's a small market. So adding new audiences is not the way to extend the shelf life of your ads on Facebook for translations. It can be for Facebook, but for the US, but generally Facebook has changed everything, and they strongly prefer you have just a couple big audiences and then lots of different images and copy. With Amazon ads, you don't have that problem. So Amazon ads, your return isn't going to be as strong, but it's going to be stable. So I run both. I have someone on my team who does the Amazon ads, but they just keep clipping away, and they have a steady A cost. They don't spend as much as I can on Facebook, but they don't depreciate in the same way. So I would do both. And if it's overwhelming, I've mentioned some things overwhelm me because there's so much to do and learn. I would start with where you feel the most comfortable. So for Amazon ads, it will spend a lot slower. There's fewer decisions to make. You don't have to have an image and copy, and it's more straightforward, but the information is much slower. The ads will take a while to serve, if they serve at all. It'll take a while to know if they're doing well. If they're doing well, it's very hard to scale them. Facebook is very fast and exciting, but it's also a great way to light your money on fire. And if you're not cold, why start a fire? But if you guys know Clifton Strengths, I'm a big fan of Becca Syme's work in Clifton Strengths, and I found that people who have stronger analytical skills, they're going to gravitate toward Amazon ads. And if you have like the influencing strengths or strategic, Facebook ads might be a better fit for you. I get bored with Amazon ads. I go in the dash, my eyes cross, I say boring, and then I leave. Like, it's taking all of my effort to use attribution links, which are also boring, even though I'm using them for Facebook ads. I just like having a lot to look at and do. And like with Facebook ads, there's a good degree of intuition. Like, yes, there's data to inform your decisions, but there's a lot of how does it feel? What could happen? And imagination play that is not quite there with Amazon ads, at least not for me.
What type of Amazon ads would you recommend people start with? Just an auto ad, a category ad, try and do some research on keywords?
That is a great question. So like I mentioned, I've learned Amazon ads, but I don't actively maintain them. I think auto ads is a great place to start just to see if it's viable. And then I would prefer targeting specific ASINs and keywords over the category ads, which I think are really hit or miss, mostly miss. But yeah, auto ads are a great way to get started. And Amazon's AI is a little bit more reliable than Facebook's AI to give you profitable ads. All right. Strategies for advertising to non-Amazon retailers. Google Play, Kobo, Tolino. And I know this question came from my friend Catherine Bilson. And I have put all of my translations into Kindle Unlimited for a long time, before ScribeShadow existed and gave me a lot more competition. I was getting many, many bonuses from KU, all-star bonuses every month. It was so cool. I'm not anymore. That's okay. I haven't put out a new translation in a while. But it never really motivated me to go wide. I did briefly try to take my French translations wide, knowing that Kobo's a good market for France. And the fundamental mistake I made there is thinking that that would do better because they weren't doing well on Amazon. So I'm like, oh, obviously they'll do well wide. But the truth is, if a book is doing well on Amazon, it's more likely to do well wide. Versus if a book is not selling on Amazon, it's probably not going to sell other places. Like for France, I had a genre mismatch. Cozy is less of a thing there. I have some traction because I changed the covers, which I could talk about. I found that they loved my Japanese illustration for the Japanese translation. I put that on the French cover and that started to sell it. But otherwise, with cozy covers that are kind of cartoony, they think it's for kids. And I actually have in my ads a line about that. While this cover is cute and sweet, this book is for adults, and that has helped conversion. So I don't have direct strategies other than when I show you guys the ads interface. I can pop in there really quick right now. So this is the Facebook ad creative dashboard, and this is the ad level. And this is an Italian ad, and I'm breaking my own advice trying to get the box set to sell. I think I'm starting to get some traction, so there might be a shift. Down here, so this is an older ad, so I haven't followed my own best practice, but this box, description, when you have a headline that's long, you can see here this headline takes up these full 2 lines. If it was only 1 line, you would see the description. If I don't fill in the description, it automatically pulls from the destination page. So it will have like the book blurb from Amazon. But this description box, this is like your secret super weapon with Facebook ads with all the changes they've made. The best thing you can do is to have a keyword rich, SEO optimized description. Readers will not even see this, but the Facebook AI does. So this is where you're going to say, you know, Kobo readers, this is your cozy mystery with an amateur sleuth, etc. Like put a literal trope list in there. Put your comp authors in there. I can show you an example with my English ads. Since I know I'm actually doing it correctly there. I actually just turned back on some of my old ads in preparation for this talk because I had like taken most of my ads away for the summer. I saw some chatter in the group about how Europeans vacation, and I did see the decline, and I'm like, okay, we'll give it a rest and then we'll turn them back on. And I wanted to have some back on for this call, and turning the ads back on has increased my income. So that's cool. I just haven't set them up recently. But here's one of my US ads, and you can see the description box here. I've got all my retailers. I've got binge because it's a complete series. I've got, you know, the series name. I've got just a ton of keywords. So this actually still reads pretty organically and nice, but it's written more so for the AI. And who did I have write it? An AI. Because AI knows what AI likes. So I tell ChatGPT, here's my book description, give me an SEO rich, give me an SEO rich block to put into my ads, and that's where that comes from. So I would definitely do that for anything, but especially if you're targeting outside of Amazon, put those other retailers in the copy, just like I did. Okay.
I have a question from Alex Liddell.
Oh, okay. Hi, Alex. Question for when there is time. After a FB ad is live, how long do you give it before judging whether that ad is working? And what criteria do you use to make that judgment call? Okay, that's a great question. Usually, what I used to do is make decisions immediately. I would play the ads against each other. So I would start 3 to 5 ads at a time. And then anything above the average cost of the group, I would slice it off. And I would just keep slicing ads off to get the best cost per click. But that doesn't work with Facebook anymore because now they reward taking your time. So, for example, I started new ads a couple days ago for a box set for my Luna Rider name. And I had 5 different copies, one audience, because Facebook really wants you to use as few audiences as possible, which we can talk more about. And I had the same image, same headlines, just 5 different text. And I gave each an attribution link, which is something, again, I do begrudgingly sometimes when I'm trying to get information. But it irritates me because it slows down my process. But they started, and I'm like, I have attribution links up. And when I use attribution links, I tell myself that I cannot change things for a week. And I force myself to not touch the ads. And right away, one of the ads was like at 48 cents a click, and the others were at 12 cents a click. And I really wanted to turn the 48 cents one off, but I didn't. And then 2 days later, it's at 10 cents a click, and it's the best ad now. So you really got to give it more time. Like I would give it at least 3 days, and ideally 5 to 7 days before you touch anything, because sometimes the data's lagging. And sometimes they just need more time, because even if you tell Facebook, like, here's who I want to target, here's what I want to do, they say, cool story, bro, but we're going to do whatever the fuck we want. Sorry about the F-bomb. I have to say one at least each live. It's like, it's a neurodivergent thing. It makes me happy. But they decide to do what they're going to do with their optimizations and their AI. And because they do that and they force that on you, even if you turn it off, they need time to optimize. So you've got to give it time, and it's so hard to not, but it does help me, like, to tell myself that I'm allowed to touch this on this day. So that's something I'm actually going to be doing, is I'm going to be making a spreadsheet, because I'm going to be testing blurbs for my entire backlist. So over 100 books are going to get ads to test 5 variations of blurbs, and then 5 variations of taglines with the winning blurbs. So this is going to be a huge process. I'm going to have a spreadsheet. It went up this day. It can be modified this day. I add new stuff this day. It can be modified this day, just to keep track of all the moving pieces. Alex says, so the answer is wait a week and use attribution links to judge. Love it. Cool. Yes. If attribution links don't make you crazy, I know you're high analytical, so you probably only love them and are not frustrated with them. In which case, use them. Just keep in mind, when I'm using attribution links, I have a whole spreadsheet where I track performance. I compare them to each other, not to what I think it should be in my brain. So most of my attribution links are below a 1x ROI according to the attribution links, but I'm also tracking my income, and I know that it's not accurate. So I just judge them against each other. So this attribution link is a 0.4. This attribution link is 0.9. Okay, we're going to turn off 0.4, so all the budget goes to the one that's 0.9. So as long as you use them for comparative analysis, it's very helpful. Question 2, how would you recommend setting up FB campaign ad set ads hierarchy if I have 3 series I want to advertise in 4 languages in 8 countries without losing my mind? Since I know Alex, I'm going to be a little cheeky and say, haven't you already lost your mind, my friend? But that's just love. No, that's really irritating, and Facebook also doesn't like it if you're adding too much at once and you have too many things in learning. So the way I would handle that, 4 languages, 3 series, I would probably do 1 language a week. So start with German. You can set up your 3 series. I would stagger them. So if you have 3 series for the week, I would put up the first campaign, wait 2 days, put up the next campaign, wait 2 days, put up the next campaign, wait, what mind, LOL, yes. And then in the next week, move to the next language. I would group them by language rather than series, so that Facebook is like learning just the French market all at once, rather than like, here's this one series in multiple languages. It will be easier and faster for Facebook to learn if you're grouping it by language. So I would set it up that way. Let's look at audiences. So Facebook really, really, really wants to find the audience for you based on this tab. What's in your creative, what the image, the description, headlines, link, and that SEO box I showed you, the description. They don't want you to do targeting here, which is why they keep taking away options. So My prediction is sometime next year, there's not going to be an ad sets tab. That's what I think will happen. I think you will have to use Advantage Plus targeting. I think you will have to use Advantage Plus placements, and this tab will not exist. And the few things you can still control will be moved to campaigner ads. That's what I think will happen. But ideally, when you're targeting, you want 5 to 10 million people in your audience. So something called, I call it zero targeting or broad reach, or just not targeting your ads other than maybe gender and country and age. That is an option, but I don't think it's the best option. But when you're trying to do something like author targets, which you can't anymore, but if you're trying to do that, or like the genre specific, with the non-US markets, it gets very small very fast. Because you can see here the zero targeting for France is 30 million people. That's everybody. That is in these countries, like it's even including men, because they're more open to my cozy mysteries in Europe than they are in the US. But I've got language and pretty much the whole age. So your audience in France is 30 million people. France plus, France adjacent. That's big. If I were to target, if I were to target an author, it could be very, very, very small. And that can seem like, oh, great. It's the perfect audience. I'm going to target this sub 1 million audience. That's a bad idea. I do the best in all of the non-US markets by just targeting fiction books. Kindle Store is one I try too, but that's actually too small. That's only 2 million people. So you can be tempted to layer in a bunch of options and be really granular and specific, but it's just too small. And if you have a small audience, it's going to deplete very quickly. So here we have, this is 4.4 to 5.2 million. So this is the perfect size, fiction books. That is my best audience across all of my foreign markets, because anything else, it's either zero, no targeting at all, or it's too small. Alex with the questions. So I should set it up language at campaign level, then country at ad set level, then series at ad level. So you have a couple of options. You could have a different campaign for each series and language combo. So in your example of 3 by 6 by whatever, I would not separate the countries for translations. What I would do is use Booklinker, so it auto directs to the correct store, and target by language. Because, and this is a good segue into the thing I decided to ask myself, so you guys would know. How do I handle meta expanding my targeting to nearby regions or languages when I'm using Advantage Plus audience or auto translation tools? So this is a new thing. I saw somebody in the group mention, like, by the way, I'm in this country and I'm getting ads from group members, and you think you're targeting this country, but I'm in this other country. So that's something fun Facebook does now. Because they decide where to serve your ads. First of all, don't use their auto-translate tools. Use ScribeShadow or even ChatGPT or Gemini. Don't let Facebook's Llama auto-translate your stuff because it can end up who knows where. Be explicit in your ad setup. So add the country name and language name into your hidden description field. So that's the place I showed you. So you're going to want to be like, readers in Germany love this new German language edition of Kitty Confidential, because again, the reader doesn't see that. So it gives the AI stronger signals. Use geo-specific links. So that's why I have Booklinker up, because that will send you to the appropriate store. So I put this in the German link to the German edition in case we set up ads, so that I have it. And when I go to it, since I'm in the US, it sends me to the Amazon.com store. So I'm going to be redoing all my ads to use this by default, because I can do everything in my power to not have Facebook auto expand. But if they send somebody because they speak German and they're in Switzerland or something, they might be using the French store, not the German store. So I want them to still be able to get the book. We can't stop Facebook from doing this. So you just have to work around it. And they will penalize you if you try to turn off their Advantage Plus stuff. So it's best to know how to work with it. They'll throttle your ads. Check your breakdowns. So another thing you can do if you're worried about it going to the wrong place is you can come in here and boop. This tab here, you can do breakdowns. So you can break it down by country and see if it's serving outside of where you've intended. And that, like, I don't know what unknown is, but this is also a good way to see, like, okay, my Italians are in Italy. Cool. That makes sense. My Germans are in Germany largely, but a lot in Luxembourg and Austria. So these are based on, I'm targeting based on the territories for ebook distribution rights, if you want to search that. And I add in all the countries that shop in the German store. But again, Facebook's going to start auto expanding this stuff. So you could probably get away with just targeting Germany, and then it will decide itself to add these other places. The less you give it in your instructions on the ad set level, which is the tab I think is going to go away next year, the quicker it will optimize, because it's going to optimize itself no matter what. But if it has to go through your suggestions, it's kind of like, you know, an angry teenager, like, ugh, fine, ugh. And it goes through the stuff, but it slows things down. It's better if you let Facebook make the decisions, like, which I know is terrifying and we don't want. But if you nail it at the ad level with the correct copy, that's really SEO optimized to talk to their bot, you don't have to worry about these things. But yes, use the Geo-Link and then see where it's serving. I also regularly do this, especially with direct sales ads. I'll see the age and gender, and I'll just keep reducing my ad, like for the direct sales, and I haven't done this with translations because the audiences are already so small and I don't want to make them smaller. But with direct sales, you can make your audience small because Facebook knows when somebody makes a purchase. So it's a different thing than running traffic ads to your Amazon books. But I'll see, like, okay, everybody who's buying is 55 or older. So I created a new audience that's just 55 and older. And I got rid of all these younger people, so I don't waste money there. And I regularly do that with my breakdowns, like who's actually clicking. And this is actually interesting. So for France, older readers not as interested. Yeah, looks pretty typical in Germany, but yeah. So in the US, all my readers are like in their 80s, but in Europe, it looks like they're a little bit younger. So if I want to have a younger audience, young being, you know, around my age group of middle-aged, just an interesting breakdown there. Let me get back to the question. What do you think? English ad sets, US, UK, AUCA, all series in each ad set. No, I would have different campaigns for the English markets because their behavior is really different. For the US, you can kind of scale into infinity. For the UK, I wouldn't go above $20 a day. And for Australia and Canada, I wouldn't go over $5 a day. And with those markets, I can only get them to work reliably for a couple months tops before I have to give them a break before trying again, because those markets are so small. But they have very different interests. Just, you know, alternate versions of English is kind of like a translation. With Cozy Mysteries in the US, it's COZY. But in the UK, anywhere speaking British English, it's Cozy Crime, COSY. So I want to make sure that I'm using the correct language, even within the same language. Also, they have different aesthetic markers they like. I've found that the UK loves really light colored covers, and the US likes darker or brighter covers. I'm seeing this consistently across the board. The UK loves place and setting based description, and the US loves character based description. So when I'm targeting the UK, I take those considerations into account. And for translations, it's probably helpful to know that Germany and Italy mirror the US market. So the covers and descriptions and styles that work in the US are probably going to work in Germany and Italy too. UK has a different vibe and aesthetic, and it's more likely that France and Spain will mirror what the UK likes. I don't have enough data on the other languages ScribeShadow does, Spanish, Portuguese, and Dutch. I will say that I have Spanish translations and they were a massive waste of my time. And that could be a genre thing, but I tried like 4 different covers. Nada with the Spanish. So I haven't quite nailed them, but I believe they follow more of a UK France aesthetic. Do you know, Stephen?
Yeah, a little bit. For Dutch, most people have really not seen any traction in Amazon. Probably mostly because they don't have Kindle Unlimited for the Netherlands. So those folks who have done Dutch and have been experimenting have been finding some good success on Kobo. For Spanish, I don't think many, if anyone, has really had success doing Spanish in like Mexico or the US for US Spanish speakers. But some people have been getting some success targeting just Spain.
Yep, that's what I try as well. Same with Portuguese. I do Portugal over Brazil. Is that what you recommend?
I think that one's probably genre dependent. Brazil does have Kindle Unlimited. It's not, the per page rate is much lower than it is in the US. But there can be a lot of them. So that's kind of a volume strategy with Brazil. It's just get as many page reads as you can, because you'll see very few sales, but a lot of page reads. But if you're advertising to Brazil, the Facebook ad clicks are going to be very, very cheap. But just like you were saying, you can't really scale it. You'll burn through it. But if you just keep a small ad going, it'll just kind of, be passive income.
And it's important to note here, like, don't only advertise book one or only box sets. Like, when you've been advertising for a while, and a while is not that long with the small markets like Australia, Canada, and most of the European markets. A while could be 2 weeks on a Dutch ad, for example. Add book 2. They haven't seen book 2 yet. That gives them something new. That gives a different hook. Those who might have passed on book 1, they might be interested in book 2. And if they need to read book 1, they'll go back and get it. Or they've already clicked and they love book 1 and now you're showing them book 2. Like, advertise through your whole series. Just Facebook right now really, really wants big audience and then regular new copy. And a lot of my strategy has been based on what's working in direct sales, because that's kind of what Facebook cares about the most, because it's where advertisers spend the most money, and traffic ads are an afterthought. And unfortunately, that's what we're stuck with if we're advertising to Amazon or Kobo. But what works in direct sales does work in traffic ads if you follow the principles. So not changing too fast because it needs time to learn, but not letting it expire. Lately, Facebook has been tagging ads like, you need to upload a new creative or we're going to stop serving your ads, or they'll put something in learning limited. So if you upload too many new ads at once, a lot of them will get stuck in learning limited and they'll never get a chance, which is another reason I told Alex to break up starting the new ads. But if you never add anything new, they can also stop serving and they'll get creative limited. So the ideal cadence is once a week. I choose Mondays is my big advertising day. Once a week, everything gets something new. So it can be a different image. It can be a different copy, whatever you want to do. Like, for my campaigns that have a lot of ads in them, I can just turn off some of the ones that are serving and turn back on ones that are off. But ideally, they want something new at a cadence of about once a week. And for the smaller markets, it might be twice a week. But you can't just add all the new stuff at once or it will go into Learning Limited. They want you to regularly check in and add things, but they don't want you to shut things off prematurely unless they decide based on Learning Limited. So it's like a dance, I guess. What's a good European dance? It's not a tango because it's not sexy, but I don't know. It's like flamenco, which is also sexy, but that's okay. All right. Yeah.
Jump in. I have a meeting at 2, so I am going to have to jump off.
Okay.
If you have any last minute questions for me?
Are there any last minute things you want to discuss? And then once you hop off, I will go through the rest of my questions that were submitted in advance, plus whatever else Alex and or anyone else in the audience asks me, and then I'll download it and put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll send this out to everyone and make sure it's on Facebook as well for everyone to, take a look at. You've given some really great advice on advertising and everything. As one thing that I'll add is one thing we are looking at with ScribeShadow is putting in place things to help authors do their advertising. So, right now you can translate your metadata, your blurb, and get some keywords, things like that. But we're hoping to put in place fairly soon some tools where you can use ScribeShadow to generate and translate ad copy for you. Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Hey, these images will vibe with your book. So that's something we're hoping to put in place fairly soon.
We should have a follow-up call because I've built that tool. Okay, I think I've lost access. Oh, okay. Hi, Stephen. You and I should talk later because I've built a tool that does that. It will grab a lot of stuff that I want to show you.
Okay, sounds good.
But thank you for joining me. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but you were great.
That's right. Thank you for doing this. Like I said, tons of valuable information, and we'll definitely share the recording everywhere we can.
All right. Well, I'll say goodbye to you, and I'll finish answering the questions I have.
Thanks.
Bye. All right. Now I have to keep track of the questions. All right. Do you target book-related audiences in these countries or just women broadly in these countries? Wondering how smart Facebook's algos are with targets that may have originally been in English. And now they've gotten rid of author targets anyway. What targets do you suggest? So I already covered that, but I wanted to make sure that since this person was nice enough to pre-submit the question, that the best audience for these marketplaces is fiction books. And again, you're looking for an audience size of 5 to 10 million. If it's smaller, it's too small. If you're putting a lot of small targets together to make a big target, that is more that Facebook has to parse through and it will take longer to learn. So I like that singular fiction books target. Plus, then I make sure my ad copy, that description field, is rich with SEO and comp authors and platforms and language and all of that information the AI needs. Creative and ad types. I have static ads for my foreign countries, even though I switched to Reels and videos in my English ones. I'm making good ROAS. Should I be looking at Reels for them as well? So I've tested for a couple authors, Instagram Reels ads that are in languages other than English, and they did not get traction. I'm not sure why. It could be that the author's Instagram account is, US based and mostly English content, and there's something keeping it from connecting. I'm not sure. I would definitely test it and just keep an open mind. If you have attribution links to know for sure whether you're getting sales from that, try it out. For US ads with Instagram Reels, they're amazing, especially for my steamy romance authors. We tend to take ones that do well on TikTok and then we convert them into Instagram Reels ads. But Instagram ads have a shorter shelf life than Facebook ads. So usually the author is doing well with Instagram ads. They have larger budgets. So we're running both Facebook and Instagram simultaneously. And we will adjust the budget between the two depending on income. So like if we're seeing a dip, like, okay, well, we have more budget on Instagram, let's scale that back and put more on Facebook. And we kind of just play the two off of each other to get better longevity. Also with video ads, be really careful about the quality ranking on the engagement score. Especially with steamy romance, it can start to slip. And if it gets to 20% below average, I turn it off. I don't care how well it's doing and how much money it's making me, because you're starting to get at risk of your account being shut down if there's too many complaints. And that's very standard with video ads. So you just have to keep an eye on it. Would love more insight into French and German Facebook ads for mystery thrillers. Any information about graphics, ad copy, headlines, and audiences will be helpful. That's a really complex question, and I've been touching on it here and there throughout this whole presentation. Definitely French is harder. It depends on what subgenre of mystery and thrillers you're running. But this is German. This is Germany loves this. And then I would try Italian. French, definitely not a big fan of the cozy. I don't know how they feel about the more graphic mysteries, maybe. But for German, just show off the cover. They love to know that it's a series and they love collages. So if you have, like, I have an 18-book series, my best ads have all 18 book covers on the ad. And Germany is the only market that really works in, because I've tried. So definitely let them know there's a lot. And appeal to the mood and setting is what they're going to like. Just, yeah, show the cover. Don't do stock images or AI images. Show the cover, because the cover is what converts. And I've tested that extensively as well. And the headlines, make sure that it's a call to action or a little review quote. So I also, on my translation ads, when I have the option, because it's not always an option with Facebook, I hide the button. Because the button is in English, even if your ads are not. So where is it? Call to action. It defaults to learn more. When I have the option, I do no button so that I get the full space here, and I don't have English language interjecting itself. I also have specific pages for each country, because I like to make sure, like, I don't want to pre-qualify that this isn't for you. So my Melissa Storm page is Melissa Storm, New York Times bestselling author. Like, that's a lot of English language if I'm trying to reach an Italian reader. So I have La Pile à Lire. I don't speak this language very well or at all. But like, that's more letting the reader know, hey, this is for you. It also keeps my ad data clean, because if I want to create a lookalike of my Italian people engaging with my Italian ads, easy peasy, I have an Italian page for that. And they can get same language support if they comment on the ads as well. And data attribution and optimization. This is a long question. I've noticed in some of the European markets that the attribution data is not that helpful, especially Italy and Spain. I check each country's ROAS every day and know I'm making a profit, but when I do a breakdown on each ad, the data looks horrible. It seems that many of the people in those countries don't click on the link and in the ad, but go to Amazon and find the book themselves. And I'm constantly getting messages in the ads themselves asking for title, author name, etc., which would seem to prove this theory. I'm happy I'm making a profit, but can never decide which ad needs to be turned off and when to start new ads. Any advice? So I don't use attribution links for my translations at all, because it's such a smaller market, and I don't think it's worth all the time it takes to set up the attribution links, make sure I'm using the correct ones, download the data. So for translations, I'm really looking at the income against the ad spend. And if I have an additional promo, like a newsletter was sent, I keep that in mind. I analyze the data each week. So I have you know, here's what Pet Whisperer in Italy did. Here's how much it earned. Here's how much I spent. I do a direct division and like, okay, here's the ROI. And I have certain benchmarks I want to hit. And mostly I pay attention to how it's trending each week. So am I making steady day-to-day sales? Is it all over the place like a mountain with peaks and valleys? Is it trending up? Is it trending down? Did I make more relative to ad spend this week than I did last week? Can I scale up? And I look at it like that. So I create my spreadsheet. And usually if I'm, you know, let's say I spent $100, I made $300. I'm going to put that at a 3x ROI. Just the way that I do it, technically that would be more like a 2x, but whatever. Okay, it's above 3x. I'm going to scale this, provided I'm not already spending more than the ceiling for this language. So I approach it more individually like that. If you are going to use attribution links, I would do them more to compare the efficacy of different ads. So here's book cover 1, here's book cover 2. Which book cover leads to more sales? Because yes, you can't know for sure based on the click-through rate or the cost per click. You want to know the conversion. So that's the instance where you would use attribution links and you would simply compare them to each other. So even if they're reporting a loss, you'll know which one is getting you more sales over time. And that's how I would use attribution links in that case. So that's all the questions. I did not have time to set up ads while you guys watched, but that was great. Thank you for the questions, Sean and Alex. That was super helpful. I'm gonna find and see if we have any more. I think I got all of the questions, so thank you again for joining me and sticking around because this was a long one. And I invite you guys to join my Facebook group. I think it's Facebook, or it's Advertising and Marketing Math or something. Just search for Melissa Storm. I think it's Author Ads is the little handle. I'll just bring it up. Here's my profile. Okay. Here we go. Author Ads, Marketing Mastery with Melissa Storm. So come and join me over there. Every Monday I post an industry report. I give a lot of lessons and advice. I'll do Q&As over there eventually. I'm using all of my extroverting video power to do this this month, but next month, you know, I'd love to go live with you guys again. Robin says, thank you, Robin. And again, thank you guys. I look forward to being a part of your community and learning more about what you do and how you do it and helping where I can. So get out there and advertise. Bye.